Next thing on the agenda is tree trimming, cutting list, Trustee Henyard.
I placed this on the agenda for the simple fact I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I talk about this for the last 6 years being on this board about tree trimming. I get a ton of calls about it, and I told you guys before, I used to be called the tree lady because I got so many complaints about the trees, and I'm the only one that really kind of speaks on it. So I'm asking Mayor, what is going on with cutting down residents' trees or trimming their trees? I stopped in to Public Works to see Matt Stacy. Matt was not there on Friday. Emailed him, no response. Monday came, no response. Tuesday came, still no response. My question to you is, what is going on with that? Because I think the next day after that, he emailed me and told me I had to refer to you for a tree list that I don't see why I have to talk to you for if I'm talking directly to the department head. We are all elected officials. We all have the same power, and anybody should be able to ask any department head for things that they need. I'm only coming into his department because I was asked by a resident, where do they stand on the tree list? That I don't think exists. I think y'all just tell the residents that. Where is it?
In regards to tree lists, I've had people coming to me and said, Mayor, I've been on tree lists for 9 years. I've been on tree lists for 7 years. I don't know where this tree list exists. What I'd like to do is, if there is a complaint about a tree, they would call the mayor's office, and we would go out and assess the tree, because there's some people that want the trees cut down for cosmetic reasons, not because it's diseased or overgrown or anything. I just like to have more sun. A lot of these trees are so huge, we do not have the manpower and or the equipment to cut these trees down. And trees are cut down by tree services. It's very important that when we have people to trim trees, that they're professionals, they know what they're doing. The remark was made that our public works should trim all the trees. To be quite frank, we don't have the manpower and or the expertise and the equipment to do that. Some of these trees could cost as much as $7,000 to $8,000, $10,000 to cut down. So anything that we can do, we do it. The smaller trees, the tree trimming, things like that. But we get a number of calls for tree trimming, and a lot of it is because of cosmetic. They want this tree limb cut off because it goes over the street or it's over their house. But when it goes over their house and there's a safety danger, we try to remove that danger. When I first came in office, one of the first things I wanted to do was start trimming trees, because when we had storms, we spent a lot more overtime by calling Public Works out to clean up the dead branches that was in the street. And we don't have that. We don't have those many calls anymore in regards to some of the severe storms we've had in the last 5 years, because we've trimmed a lot of trees and cut a lot of dead branches off. What I like to do is not really create a list, but as the calls come in, I like to direct those people that have complaints about the trees to call my office. One of the things that we had the arboretum out here.
We're going to talk about trees and all the benefits that they bring to your community, and maybe we'll dispel some of those myths that you think that trees are doing when they're really not. Trees are a good thing for your community.
That has on a yearly basis given us free trees to plant trees.
You mentioned briefly earlier regarding the tree planting that took place on Greenwood Road. That was done in conjunction with Miss Beth Corrigan of the Morton Arboretum.
Because what it does is it really helps with the flooding in the community.
Increase your tree canopy and your bioswales and things to help with flooding, because this South Cook area has so much trouble with flooding.
Those trees drink up a lot of water.
But the best thing that you can do for a new tree, water it once a week for the first 2 or 3 years. About an inch of water a week. And if you water deeply, then it encourages those roots to just grow nice and deep. And if you don't water right at the trunk, the dogs do enough of that, water around to encourage the roots to go out.
Their suggestion, and our outsourced person suggests that we do not cut down trees if they're lively and healthy and just need trimming.
Trees have been an issue for a lot of the residents here in Dolton, and we just want to spread some information and knowledge about the trees and what's actually going on with them, about tree trimming, the care and maintenance of your trees, and the different things that the trees actually provide to you. A lot of people want to cut the trees down, but if it's not necessary, there's a lot of benefits to having trees.
I don't know what happened in the past in regards to tree trimming lists. Like I said before, people said to me, I've been on the list for 7, 8 years, whatever. I've never seen that list. Remember now, this board cut the budget on tree trimming. I think we've spent $75,000 in the past. We could to be honest with you, all the trees that we have here, we could spend $150,000. These trees are huge. We cut down as many as we can, and I'm going to be very frank with you. That budget needs to be extended to get some of these trees that cut down.
How does that work with the tree cutting, since he brought that up? Is it a list? Is it just particular people that get their tree cut or trimmed?
Well, some years ago, some of the residents that called in said that they were put on a list. Since the budget has been adjusted and there has been little money put into the budget for cutting trees, we've kind of been doing it on almost an emergency basis. These 3 trees that were cut down were dead and had been dead for a number of years, and some of the branches had started to fall off onto the residents' property, and I thought it would be a danger, the children out there playing and stuff, and these dead branches falling off, so I had them cut down.
Mayor, I just want to make sure I got this right. I know you didn't just say you don't know nothing about no tree list. I know you didn't just say that. Is that what you just said to me?
That's exactly what I said.
Mayor, we went back and forth, I don't know if it was a year ago, 2 years ago, about a tree list, and you submitted it to this board of trustees about a tree list that exists.
Okay.
And since then, we've been telling residents they have a tree list that you basically saying does not exist. So what I'm saying to you is that you're just telling residents what they want to hear, but yet we don't have a tree list all of a sudden. So
Well,
they've been on the tree list 9 years. That's terrible. That's pathetic. If that's what you're telling me, first
Okay,
of
that's
all.
before my time.
Mayor, no. I've been complaining left and right about a tree list for residents. That's all I ever talk about. Because when I door knock, just like you door knock, and anybody up here that's door knocking now, that's the #1 complaint. Cutting down trees,
disagree
trimming
with you.
trees.
I disagree
No. You guys, any trustee up here, I don't got to make that up. Residents are here.
I disagree
Everybody
with
care
you.
about those trees. But you're telling me that you don't have a tree list now? I got a problem with that.
Do you have the
Because
tree list? You said
I
if
don't
I
have
submitted- if you
I
said
don't
if-
have a tree list because
It's-
I came, hold on. I came to Public Works to get the tree list that y'all told the residents that they was on. 2 residents called me and said, Trustee Henyard, where am I on this tree list? I said, you know what? I'm going to go up there myself and find out where you was on this list. When I went up there, the ladies could not provide me with a list. They then told me that they need to call their boss, which is Matt. I said, call him. I even called him. Matt did not pick up for me or them. I emailed Matt to basically rectify this situation. No response. And then I guess 2-3 days later, after he talked to you, you guys sent me an email stating I need to talk to the mayor. And then in my response was, I'm not going to play these games with y'all. I want my tree list. And to this day, I still don't have a tree list.
You started out by saying a year and a half ago, I've provided this board with a tree list.
You
Okay,
did. We did
okay.
at a board meeting, yes.
Okay, if I did, where is it at? If I gave it to you?
That's my question.
If I gave it to you,
oh,
where's your
don't worry
copy?
about it. I'm gonna bring it. I didn't know I had to
Okay,
bring a tree
okay.
list to the board meeting that
Okay.
I asked for an
Okay.
update. So
Okay.
if you guys not doing your jobs by updating the residents on where they need to be on this so-called allegedly tree list that do not exist, I don't like you guys lying to the residents. That's what I'm tired of. When we get the complaints, I bring it to the board. I bring it to the body. And then I try to rectify it before we get here to a board meeting, and it still don't get rectified. So now I have to sit here and do this. So then the residents think we're bickering. But I'm tired because I got to put it on blast because you're not doing what I'm asking, which is provide me with a tree list so I can tell a resident what they was on this list that you just said. Most people saying they've been on 9 years. That's terrible. Secondly, I don't appreciate you saying they need to call your office to get a tree down. We have Public Works. He's supposed to do his job. When they call there, he's supposed to sit here and come out, assess the situation, and cut the tree down. You don't supposed to get in the middle of their duties. That's his job.
Well, one of the problems is that you said they're not doing an efficient duty, so if we direct it to my office, we can monitor it.
Mayor, if someone's not doing their job, what do you supposed to do? You have a business, I have a business.
So there you have it, Sharks. 1,000,001 reasons of why you Sharks should invest here at Good Burger. I have a brick and mortar location now, and I would love to be riding around and getting it. Must I say more?
You discipline the
I can tell
employee.
you.
You don't sit here and take over it. You find somebody that's going to do what we're asking. That's what I'm saying. All I want is the residents' tree cut down. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. And another thing that I emailed everybody was I feel bad about this one resident that called me, and I've been asking for the last 3 years for her tree to be cut down. This lady tripped and fell. She 83 years old. Her tree lifted the sidewalk, so when she came up to go into her home, she fell, broke her hip. So when I got that complaint, how you think I feel? That's why I put this on this agenda. I then went again and tried to tell Matt. He told me he was going to take care of it. Still nothing. Tree's still there. So my question to you, Mayor, is what's the plan going forward?
I just told you the plan.
No. I don't like that plan. So I'm in disagreement with that plan.
Just because you don't like it don't mean it's not going to go into effect. Do you know how many people we have that has experience in cutting trees?
Mayor, it's no excuse. That means we need to put a plan together. That means that Matt should sit down with the board. Sit down with the board. No, you put your plan together. I said we need to put a plan together. That means Matt need to sit down with the board and we need to come up with a plan that the whole body agrees on. You are just saying that for yourself because you did that during election time. Basically, okay, if a person gave you a complaint when we was running, you said you're going to take care of the next day. What's any different now? When a person give a complaint now, man, hold on. If a person give a complaint now, why are you not saying you're going to take care of the next day like you were saying on election day?
Do you know?
That's my issue,
You know
man.
how many people that we have experience to cut trees?
It's not about experience with trees.
What do you mean it's not that?
It's not.
We just had a person killed. We just had a person killed to cut the tree down.
There you go, deflect.
This Saturday, there was a group of individuals that came out to cut a tree down for a resident that had called them. They had no permit, no license, and one of the workers was killed. They didn't have the proper equipment, didn't have the proper safety. I'm not sure how he got up in the tree. I didn't see any ladders or equipment that would get him that high. He cut part of the top of the tree off. It came tumbling down and crushed the guy down below, killed him. That's why it's important to have experienced people and the proper equipment to do things like that.
There you go, deflecting. Why do we have a person in Public Works? We got 18, 17 people, Mayor.
Okay, finish
that
what you got to say.
Okay, I am. I'm trying to, but you keep interrupting me. We have enough people in Public Works to do their job. I'm pretty sure that if Matt put together a plan and executed the right way, I think it will be fine, but he does not. You guys do too much favoritism here. When a resident calls, you take care of their problem. They pay taxes here. They shouldn't have to get favoritism because of who they know. If they call anyone else on the board and anybody calls Matt, it should get taken care of. It shouldn't be on a list for a year or 2 years. That's terrible. I would even want to make that statement that a person keeps complaining about 9 years about a tree. I will move. You're supposed to get services. I'm pretty sure they ain't got them problems in South Holland. So they ain't got a problem. And they go take care of it. That's why people move the community because of services. But if we're not giving the right service, Mayor, then why come here? Over a tree. Look what we're talking about. A tree.
Right. Why'd you cut the budget on the tree?
I never cut the budget on the tree.
Who cut it?
But let's go back to what I'm saying, because there you go.
I'm not going to go back and forth with you.
It's not about going back and forth.
Finish what you got to say.
Mayor. I am saying what I'm saying, but you keep saying that, and I'm saying what I'm saying. Basically, I want the resident tree cut. We got a big issue in Dolton about tree trimming.
That's not true.
That is true.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not making this up. When I talk, everybody know I ain't making it up. You know I'm going to state facts when I'm up here. I always do. The problem is we don't have no good management here in the village of Dolton. But yet we want to raise everything on the residents. I have a problem with that. We have to stop. We need to fix in-house first. That's what we need to do, and we're not doing that. You study going around with all this other stuff instead of saying, okay, trustee, let's sit down, let's come up with a plan, and let's fix it. You're just saying, no, direct them to the mayor's office. No, Mayor, what is the plan that Public Works should be doing every day? We don't even get that from Matt. Where is that?
You done?
You gonna respond, Mayor? Are you going to respond, Mayor?
I just tried to tell you how we're going to handle it. You don't
okay, but if I'm saying I disagree with handling that way.
Opinion. Go ahead, Trustee Muhammad.
But if I'm saying I'm not going to agree with that, why can't you say, okay, trustee, let's sit down and come up with a plan? What is wrong with that? That's what I'm saying. It's just your way or the highway. Why can't you say, okay, trustee, I hear you loud and clear. Let's come up with a better plan than the one I just said. What's wrong with that, Mayor?
Trustee Muhammad.
Okay.
Right.
Dovetailing on Trustee Henyard, there was a list that was printed. I believe I came in 2015 or 2016 was a list that was printed from Public Works that was given to all the trustees at a board meeting.
Yep.
It was called the tree list. Some were being cut, some were being trimmed, some had not gotten to yet. And I know myself personally that whenever I've text Mr. Stacy, he would respond quickly. I'll get on it, trustee, and then when I follow up on it, I would be referred to your office, Mayor, on more than one occasion. And I saved those photographs, I saved those texts for a day like today, because a trustee, when they're called by a resident and they want a tree not cut, but trimmed, because we know cutting is more expensive than trimming, because you did make a statement that the budget needs to be extended to cut down trees. To make a statement like that, you don't understand this budget. We don't have money to extend to cut trees, but what we're asking as trustees, when residents come to us and we approach Public Works and they say they're going to do it, and when we follow up on it and they bring it to you, they say it's been referred to the mayor's office. And as you know, I've emailed your office and said, Mayor, could you please tell us what the status of this is? And to this date, you have yet to answer any one of my emails to you, and I made sure that when I sent it to you the last ones, I also blind CC'd every trustee on this board so they know what I'm talking about. So I agree with Trustee Henyard about the list. There was a list printed. Number two, when we follow up on this list or something being trimmed or cut, it's referred to your office, but you don't respond. But as far as extending that budget to cut some trees down, that's not going to happen because we just don't have the money.
And that's fine. So those trees will not get cut down.
Has nothing to do with trimming the trees. We have public works that can trim trees,
They
Mayor.
cannot trim all the trees.
We're not asking to trim all the trees. When a resident have a concern, again, I'll say it, when we bring it to Public Works and Public Works gives it to you, if those trustees are not in your favor, they will not get trimmed.
That's not true.
And I have them in my phone, and I'm
That's
sure
not-
there are
that's
other
not true.
trustees on this board
That's
that
not
concur
true.
with that.
That's not true.
I'm asking the board to support me and moving forward with a plan for cutting trees here in the village of Dolton and doing tree trimming. Matt, we would like to sit with you whenever you're available. If you can give us a date, that would be nice. I could sit with you and another trustee. We can do 2 at a time and come up with a great plan so that the residents don't have to keep complaining every year about trimming a tree or cutting a tree down. Do you have any dates that you're available, Matt? Okay, just give me a date and a time. We can schedule it right now.
Not only that, the same truck and same public works workers also repair the street lights.
Okay.
So they're repairing street lights and they're also trimming trees with one truck. And it's usually, what, 2 workers, Matt, Kelly, and Mr. Bunch.
Matt, what was the date and time that you would like to meet with myself? Okay, so
I'd like to be part of that meeting.
I don't mind anybody being part of the meeting. If we can meet here, that's fine.
You
I
know-
just want some clarity on
You know
cutting
what?
the trees down.
What I would suggest to you also, Trustee Henyard, is when they go out to trim a tree and or cut a tree down, you go with them.
Mayor, I know the process. I know what's going
and
on.
you see how long it takes.
It's
you see,
still no
you see
excuse
how
for
long it.
why somebody years on a list. You cannot sell me that. You can't.
Well, I'm not.
So I'm saying that we need some kind of order. We don't have order with that. As you can see, you just said the list is gone. Where's the list?
When you request a tree, I've seen some emails to Matt, and you say, Matt, get on this, or like cut this down, cut this tree down. They plan their work schedule. The superintendent, the supervisor, and
Okay.
manager
So where's the plan?
plan their work schedule on a daily basis, usually in regards to urgency. Sometimes when I'm out at night, I carry a pad with me and I write down the street lights that are out. The following morning, I call Matt. I said, Matt, these lights are out. Because in some cases, it creates a safety hazard. And that usually takes priority over a lot of other things, unless it's a water main break and stuff like that.
So Mayor, why is
Go
it
ahead.
that they don't have a list of things they do every day as far as giving it to the board? For instance, like you just said, if it's an emergency, they'll do a light.
They don't
So-
give a list to the board every day.
No, I'm
how-
asking you. Hold on, let me get it out. Why can't Matt say, okay, we cut down 2 trees today, and then tomorrow they gonna trim 4 trees? Where's that list? So
See,
you can
what-
say what the order is or what's
what
going
you
on.
keep saying is that they can't cut trees down on a daily basis.
No, that's an
Because
example.
with
I'm
the-
not saying necessarily they got to do it on a daily basis, but I'm saying where's that plan? There's no plan. That's my issue. There's
Mayor,
no
can I be
plan in
recognized?
place.
Go ahead, Trustee.
2 suggestions. One, I would think maybe we want to have this as part of a committee meeting. The second part would be, I think a big thing on there is the communication for when things can or cannot be done, because I think it will help. And I'll just say me, a lot of times when I do communicate with Superintendent Manager Matt Stacy, he gets back to me and he'll say, this is how long it's going to take. So that way we even if we're unable to do it, we can at least let the person know, so that way they have an idea, or they're not expecting something that's not going to come.
Well, at least he responded to you. He don't respond to none of us.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Go ahead.
When you give me all the information on a Thursday of places that you have cut down trees, repaired street lights, I always ask on numerous of occasions to please email me the addresses, because I would like to go by to see some of the work that you have done, that you provide me for with the list, as opposed to just reading off what you have given me. You can tell me anything, but if I can go by and view it for myself, then I don't mind doing that. And I asked again for the record, along with the report, give me the addresses of all the work that you have done. on the report. Give me the addresses. Miss Scott on Dorchester, where her sidewalk is buckling because of trees or whatever else that have caused it, and she's in a wheelchair, and it's very, very hard for her to get out of her house. I was told by a resident that the trustees would not okay that. You know, I'm just telling you what the resident said, that the manager stated that the trustees wouldn't pay for it, and that's an untruth.
Some of those places that was on the list, and that the concrete company was asking for payment up front because we hadn't paid them or it was a long time paying them, are not being repaired, and they probably won't get repaired now because the winter's coming. But there was a couple of locations that was serious that needed to be repaired, and they're still out there right now. What do we do? Okay, when we got a problem with some of those areas where the sidewalks is raised, I went by one the other day, it's raised like about 10 inches. Are we gonna pay for it, or we're not gonna pay for it?
Mayor, there are other concrete companies also, not just that particular one, that once they do the work, then they expect to be paid, not to be paid up front.
Well,
And the work wasn't done. There are other companies other than Five Star.
yeah, but we've asked for bids. They came in at the lowest on the bids, and these concrete companies talk. We have a very, very limited source of vendors that we can use because they know how we pay our bills.
I disagree with you.
Okay,
Can
find them.
we see the bids? Are we privileged to that information on seeing the bids?
Public information.
Do we have-
I don't have them. What, Matt, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. With that concrete issue going on, you guys, the trustees went out and looked at, the trustees had went out and gone to job sites to look at the repairs. The reason that they went there and the jobs weren't completed yet was because the contractor didn't do them. No trustee came to me and asked me what was going on with the job sites. Why are we writing checks for jobs that aren't done? The reason we did this was last year, the board held this contractor's check for so long, he said this is going to be COD. Myself and John finally talked to the contractor. He's been the lowest bidding contractor on some of the jobs that we've put out there. What we did was we would submit his bills to Yvonne. Yvonne would process them, get them approved, and she would hold the check until the job was completed. As soon as we let him know the job was complete, or we had the check that finance was holding on to it, then he completed the job, he got paid. Again, just last week, we had a company that comes out and deals with our snow plows. We take them to them whenever it's something bigger than what our mechanics can handle. It took so long for the board to vote on the bills. He said, don't bring your trucks back here again. He says, I don't know what you guys have going on over there. He said, I'm not a bank. I'm not holding your truck until I get the check. That went on for 3 months. I kept calling Yvonne, talking to her. I don't know what happened between her and sending them through to the trustees. But again, we lost another vendor because of the bills being delayed on being paid. Nobody has come to me, nobody has ever talked to me about any issues going on with contractors, vendors, anything. I'm trying to do the best that I can for the residents of this town with what I have to work with.
Mr. Stacy made two statements concerning COD and this last job it was over $50,000, by the way. It is against the law for us to pay a vendor in front for work that's not done. Myself and Trustee Pearson went out and took those invoices and looked at every location.
What law is that?
Can I finish, please? Trustee Pearson and I, on a Saturday, went to every one of those locations. The only work that was done pretty much was the Pierian and a few residential areas. But on the western side of Dolton, those properties had not been done. We cannot pay a vendor on the front end and then say a $50,000 bill, which was to our attention, $50,000, because we just didn't have it. The work that they did, when we looked at it, the board approved it and they were paid.
How long though?
It was a matter of weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks.
No.
Let me finish, Mayor. I got another one for
Go
you.
ahead.
One of your donors, I think it's called Liquor City, located.
Go ahead so I can correct you.
Liquor City, located on Chicago Road, and they're next to MB Bank. And the reason why we held that up because they were asking for full payment, but yet if you look on the invoices, and all of us have them, it said there was a 50-50 program or something to that effect where they were supposed to have paid half. We said once they pay half of their share, then the board will vote to pay the other half, which is what we did. But it wasn't months and months that those bills were languishing.
That's
The
not
minute
true.
that we get them from the clerk, she gets a consensus from the board, and if she gets at least, I believe it's 4 votes, then it's paid. I don't know anything about months and months that went by on those 2 particular instances.
You know, you say you're not doing anything political, but you didn't talk about my political donor. My donor.
They're on your D2s.
It's my donor. Fine, it's on my D2,
Then that's your
right.
donor.
But you know
D2
what?
is your donor,
That's
sir.
fine. But they did not have to pay 50-50 on that.
They weren't supposed to
asked
pay it
them.
at all.
That it was a city sidewalk. It was irregular. I mean, it was a highly traveled area that people went to the bus stop. And I asked them to, at least would they pay 50% of it. It wasn't a 50-50 program, and they agreed to pay 50% of it because of the cost of it and the length of the project. They were generous enough to pay 50-50. If you we had pictures of that, how badly it was decomposed and a hazard for people walking. That's why it was done.
And a lot of that
Yeah,
was
after it was finished.
private property.
It was not
That
private
was-
property.
Mayor, I'll show you my pictures, you show me yours.
You can show them, but it wasn't. It's
Okay.
not private property.
Okay, I'm not
It's
going
part
to
of the
argue
regular
with you
sidewalk.
today.
I just want to add, all of this started because we're talking about trees, and you came up with your idea called the mayor. That's really not fair, only because it won't be a list maintained.
Trustee, we
that-
passed the tree project, okay?
Yeah.
We
But
passed the tree.
that's what this
You know,
got, Mayor, this
And
became-
belaboring this is not
Mayor,
going to get
could
it
I-
any better.
Could I finish?
Okay?
We should have a tree list, even if we call you, and I would advise all the trustees, and when you send that email to the mayor, just, we can get together amongst ourselves and create a list of what we're sending to the mayor, and we keep a check on it so that we'll know how long that list is and how many trees are being cut on that list. So I don't have a problem with sending it to you, Mayor. I'm just going to keep my own records, and we can compile a list ourselves. We don't need the mayor to compile a list for us to let the residents know how it's going or where they are on that list.
How are you going to handle the trees that Public Works cannot handle? Do you tell the customer, you tell the residents that can't cut it down because we don't have the money? How you want to handle that?
Mayor, if those issues are brought to this board can deal with those issues. They're never brought to the board. The board don't know what kind of money they got to spend.
Let me tell you
can't
this.
hold us responsible for the money if it's
Trustee.
going to be spent without advice of the board.
Probably 75%, 80% of these trees in the village are close to anywhere between, on the low end, 50 years old to 100 years old. We do not have the equipment and or the expertise in our Public Works Department to handle those trees. A lot of those trees that need trimming is because they're that old and they're overhanging on houses and things like that. In some cases, we can't handle that. And with this board reducing the amount of the budget that was in the budget for trimming trees, what do we tell the residents?
So, Mayor, then why tell the resident that they're on the list if we can't handle what you're saying? Why send them off like that? Why give them false hope? If we're not gonna cut their tree down, why you just don't say, well, we can't cut it down, we can't afford it at the time?
You
Why
just
tell
heard the
them they're on
trustee
list?
said. You just heard the trustee said someone was told that we couldn't fix the sidewalk because we had the money, and the concrete budget was cut also. We've repaired a number of sidewalks that was just repaired because of the hazard that they create.
Not the lady that fell.
Well-
Been like that 2 years.
I apologize if that was the cause for injury and stuff like that, but we've repaired a number of sidewalks that were highly elevated that created hazards, and there's a number out there that still need. I know. I just visited one yesterday. It's 8 inches higher than over the land. And I want to submit it to this board and see if they take care of it. The thing about that, they've been out there so long, and a lot of times it takes a long time for this board to approve anything and get things done. What do you mean it's not true? Look how long from the time that you refused to pay the concrete guy to the time that you decided to take out the ones that were already done and pay him. It was months.
Mayor, it wasn't months.
How long was it?
Check your email, because I've also emailed you.
How long
And
was
you
it?
don't never respond to your email.
Yeah.
So check your email.
I can show you some of the emails that I got where I get almost threatened.
Nobody threatened you.
It's like it would behoove you to do this. You know, come
That one
on.
didn't come from me.
I got him. I can show you too. Don't
Mayor,
send me nothing talking about
behoove
it
is
would
not
behoove
threatening.
me. Okay, next thing on the agenda is construction of speed bumps.
Mayor, can I get my date with Matt? That's all I ask.
Well, why don't you
I've
get
been
with
waiting
Matt
on that
after the
for a
meeting?
minute.
Let him look at his calendar, get with him after the meeting,
Just
and you set up a
said-
date.
Wait, he looked at it obviously because he told me 7 to 3.
Okay, we
so.
ain't going back and forth. Next thing on the agenda is construction of speed bumps.